Subscribe to Echo Tales for deeply emotional, romantic, and mature stories that echo through your heart. Don't forget to like, share, and comment to support meaningful storytelling. Lena's life was quiet. Too quiet, some might say. Her small apartment was filled with the gentle hum of solitude, a place where memories lingered like soft shadows in the corners. She had grown used to her routine, the way the light slipped through the window each morning, and the slow rhythm of days without surprises. But all that changed on a rainy afternoon, when the unexpected knock at her door stirred something deep inside her chest, a mixture of anticipation and unease she hadn't felt in a long time. When she opened the door, there he was, Jamie, her nephew. He looked different, taller, more reserved, almost fragile in a way that made Lena's heart ache. It had been over a year since she last saw him, and the boy she remembered was gone. Now stood a young man carrying silent, storms behind his eyes, a look that begged for understanding without asking for words. Jamie stepped inside quietly, shedding his soaked jacket like a shield. The air between them was thick with things unsaid, broken pieces of a life Lena had never fully known. She noticed the subtle way he avoided eye contact at first, how his hands trembled slightly as if holding back something heavy. For a moment, she simply watched him, letting the silence fill the space like a fragile thread connecting their past and present. "Can I ask you for something?" Jamie's voice was soft, almost hesitant, and it broke through the quiet like a fragile whisper. Lena's heart tightened. The question hung in the air, loaded with a weight she couldn't yet understand. What could her nephew possibly want from her now? She was his aunt, the person who had always been there, steady and reliable. But this felt different. Something raw and urgent simmered beneath his calm exterior. The rain continued to fall outside, tapping against the window like a metronome counting down the seconds to whatever was about to unfold. Lena stepped aside, inviting him further into the warmth of her home. She could feel the electricity in the air, the sense that this visit wasn't just a casual drop-in. It was the start of something that might change everything. Her mind raced through questions. Had he lost his job? Was he running from someone or something? Or was it deeper? Something broken inside that only family could mend? The look in Jamie's eyes told her this wasn't about simple troubles. It was about a heart needing shelter, a soul searching for a safe place to heal. As Jamie finally met her gaze, his expression vulnerable, Lena felt an unexpected surge of protectiveness and something softer, a quiet hope. She reached out and touched his arm gently. "You can ask me anything," she said, her voice steady but warm. What Jamie would ask next would catch her off guard, and what she chose to do in that moment would set a new course for both their lives. But for now, all that mattered was that he was here, and the story between them was just beginning. The words Jamie spoke next hung in the air like a sudden storm, catching Lena completely off guard. "I need a place to stay. For a while." It was so simple, so quiet, yet it carried a weight she hadn't expected. Her heart thudded loudly, her mind scrambling to understand what this really meant. Jamie, the young man she had always seen as confident and independent, was now asking for shelter, something more than just a roof over his head. It felt like an unspoken plea for refuge, for safety, for something she could barely put into words. Lena blinked, her thoughts racing. Was this just temporary, a brief escape from some trouble? Or was it deeper? The hesitation in Jamie's voice spoke volumes. This wasn't an easy ask for him. She noticed how he glanced away, shame and vulnerability mixing in his eyes. That subtle trembling in his hands returned, and Lena suddenly wanted nothing more than to protect him, to hold him close and tell him everything would be okay. "Of course," she finally said, her voice softer than she intended. "You can stay. Here." The words felt like a promise, a commitment that surprised even her. She had never imagined her quiet apartment would become a sanctuary for Jamie, a place where he could find comfort amidst whatever storms he was facing. But Lena needed to know more. The questions bubbled up inside her, demanding answers. But, tell me everything, Jamie. What's going on? Her curiosity wasn't just about the practical details. It was about understanding the pain behind his request. Why had he come to her now? What had changed so suddenly in his life? Jamie hesitated, again, then slowly sank onto the worn couch by the window. The rain outside mirrored the heaviness settling in the room. For a long moment he was silent, his eyes tracing the droplets sliding down the glass. When he finally spoke, his voice was low, filled with a raw honesty that made Lena's heart ache. "It's complicated," he admitted. "I thought I had everything figured out, but then things fell apart. I lost my job, and then—" He swallowed hard. "I lost her. The person I thought would stay." Lena felt a sting of recognition. She had known heartbreak herself, the kind that left you feeling empty and shattered inside. She leaned forward, her hand reaching out instinctively. Jamie's vulnerability stirred something deep within her, an ache of empathy mixed with an unexpected tenderness. This was more than just a nephew coming home. This was a young man broken by life's harsh truths, searching for a place to heal. And somehow, Lena realized she was ready to be that place. The quiet apartment seemed warmer, now filled with possibility and a fragile hope. Whatever lay ahead, this moment was the turning point. Jamie's unexpected request wasn't just about needing a bed. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one where two wounded hearts might find solace in each other. And as Lena looked at him, she knew one thing for certain. She wasn't going to turn him away. The first few days passed in a delicate silence, the kind that speaks louder than words. Jamie settled into Lena's apartment, but something hung between them, a quiet tension, unspoken, yet powerful. Lena watched him carefully, noticing the small signs of his struggle, the way his shoulders sagged when he thought no one was looking, the restless way he tapped his fingers against his mug, the way his eyes would cloud over when he thought of something painful. It was clear that Jamie was carrying a weight far heavier than just losing a place to stay. One evening, as rain tapped steadily against the window pane, Jamie finally broke the silence. They sat together on the worn-out sofa, the room dim except for the soft glow of a lamp. Lena's heart was ready, even if her mind wasn't. She waited, hands folded quietly in her lap, for him to speak. "It's her," Jamie said finally, voice barely above a whisper. "I never thought it would hurt this much." Lena's breath caught. She didn't need to ask who he meant. Love, heartbreak, and loss. They spoke the same language in every corner of the world. Jamie's first love had left him suddenly, and the pain was raw, jagged, and deep. She remembered her own heartbreak, the nights when the silence was so loud it crushed her, the mornings when the world felt empty and cold. As Jamie spoke, the walls he'd built around himself slowly crumbled. He told her about the dreams he'd had with her, the promises that now felt like broken glass cutting through his chest. He confessed the loneliness that wrapped around him like a thick fog, leaving him lost and searching for something to hold. Aunt Lena reached out, placing her hand over his. The contact was simple, but the connection it sparked was profound. Neither of them said much, but in that quiet touch, there was understanding, compassion, and an unspoken bond forming between them. It was as if they were two lost souls finding a fragile thread to hold on to. For Lena, this moment stirred feelings she hadn't expected. Something tender, almost like the flutter of a new beginning mixed with the ache of shared pain. Jamie's vulnerability peeled back the layers she kept hidden too. She felt drawn to him in a way that went beyond family ties, something deeper, more complex. Their eyes met, lingering longer than before, filled with a mixture of sadness and hope. The distance between them seemed to shrink, as if the room itself held its breath, waiting for what would come next. A gentle brush of fingers, accidental or maybe not, sent a jolt through both of them. Neither spoke about it, but the air was charged. The line between comfort and something more fragile and intimate began to blur. That night, Lena lay awake, heart pounding with questions she wasn't ready to answer. Jamie's pain was hers now, too, and beneath it all, a quiet, unsettling feeling took root, one that whispered that this visit was about more than just a place to stay. What would she do with these unexpected feelings? How far could she let herself go? The story was only beginning, and the unspoken pain between them was just the first step toward something neither could yet name. The days turned into a quiet rhythm, but beneath the calm surface, something was shifting between Lena and Jamie. The space between aunt and nephew felt smaller, almost as if the boundaries they once knew were beginning to blur. It wasn't just the closeness of living under the same roof. It was something more delicate and complicated, something neither of them fully understood yet, but both could feel in every glance and every touch. One evening, after a day spent talking about little things and avoiding the heavier truths, they found themselves on the couch again. This time, they were watching an old movie Lena loved, something light and nostalgic to distract from the heaviness in the air. Jamie leaned his head against her shoulder, seeking comfort without asking for it. Lena felt a sudden warmth spread through her, a gentle, tender feeling she hadn't expected to have for him. Not like this. Her heart fluttered with a mixture of surprise and hesitation. This closeness was comforting but also confusing. She reminded herself firmly. Jamie was family. Yet, when his fingers brushed against hers, light, hesitant, it wasn't the touch of a nephew seeking comfort. It was something softer, more intimate, like the beginning of a secret conversation told without words. Lena's mind raced. Could she let herself feel this? Could she allow these feelings to grow? She had been alone for so long, her heart quietly waiting, aching for connection. Jamie's presence awakened something inside her, a mix of protection, desire, and longing. But the world outside their small apartment was unforgiving. What would people say? What about the family? The rules they'd never dared to question. Still, in the quiet of that room, the world fell away. They sat close, their breaths mingling, the movie forgotten. Lena's hand found Jamie's again, holding it gently as if to say, "I'm here." His eyes searched hers, vulnerable and open, and for a moment, all the walls they had built around their hearts crumbled. The line between comfort and something forbidden blurred dangerously. Lena felt the weight of it pressing down. Could she cross this line without losing herself? Could Jamie? Neither moved to pull away, but the tension hung thick between them, as palpable as the rain still falling outside. Their connection had deepened beyond simple family affection, stirring feelings that were both thrilling and terrifying. That night, after Jamie had gone to his room, Lena lay awake, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. She wrestled with the ache of longing and the fear of what this meant. Was it just loneliness making them reach for each other, or something real and lasting? Could love grow from a place so complicated? As the clock ticked past midnight, Lena realized that whatever path lay ahead, nothing would be the same again. The unexpected closeness between them had opened a door, one filled with hope, but also uncertainty. Would she take a step through it? Or would fear hold her back? The story had crossed a fragile, invisible line, and the consequences were waiting, quietly in the shadows, ready to unfold. The rain had slowed to a soft drizzle outside, but inside Lena's small apartment, the air was thick with unspoken feelings. The evening had stretched long, filled with quiet moments and stolen glances that neither dared to voice. Jamie sat close beside Lena on the couch, the familiar weight of their closeness both comforting and electrifying. For a while, the only sound was the soft flicker of the television, playing a movie neither was really watching. But the silence between them was about to break, shattered by a truth too fragile to hold in any longer. Jamie's voice came out low, hesitant, and raw. "I'm falling for you." The words hung in the air like a delicate thread, trembling with vulnerability and hope. Lena's heart skipped a beat. She felt the warmth of his gaze, steady and searching, as if asking for permission to exist in this forbidden space between them. Her breath caught, and for a moment, she couldn't speak. The truth was there, buried beneath layers of fear and doubt, waiting to be set free. She had felt it too, this unexpected pull that defied reason and the rules she'd told herself to follow. Jamie wasn't just her nephew anymore. He was someone who had quietly taken over her thoughts and filled the empty spaces in her heart. "I'm falling for you too," she whispered, her voice trembling with honesty and a mix of fear. The confession was like a gentle flood, washing away the walls between them. Suddenly, the world outside didn't matter. The judgments, the family expectations, the what-ifs, they all seemed distant and insignificant compared to the truth of this moment. Two hearts, fragile and scarred, reaching for something real, in the midst of chaos. But beneath the tenderness was a storm of uncertainty. What did this mean for them? Could they turn this fragile hope into something lasting? Could love born from such unexpected circumstances survive the weight of reality? Lena looked into Jamie's eyes and saw the same questions reflected there. Neither had easy answers. They both knew the road ahead would be complicated, filled with whispers, doubts, and the kind of challenges that could either break them or bind them closer together. Yet in that quiet room, wrapped in each other's presence, the fear seemed to fade just enough to make room for hope. Jamie reached out, brushing a stray lock of hair from Lena's face with the gentlest touch. The moment was simple, tender, and filled with promise. It was a beginning, a fragile step into a new chapter neither of them had planned, but both secretly longed for. As the night deepened, they stayed close, hearts beating in quiet rhythm. The world outside might never fully understand their story, but here, in this small, warm space, their love was real. It was imperfect, complicated, and deeply human. And sometimes that's all love needs to be. The morning sun filtered gently through the curtains, casting a warm glow over the quiet apartment. But inside Lena's heart, a storm of emotions swirled, a mixture of hope, fear, and the bittersweet ache of what they both knew was coming. Jamie was still asleep in the next room, but the weight of their confession from the night before lingered. In the air, heavy and undeniable. They had crossed a line, one that no one could easily erase. The world outside their small sanctuary was waiting. Judgments, questions, and the kind of challenges that could tear them apart. Yet, despite the uncertainty, Lena felt something she hadn't felt in years. A fragile but fierce hope. This love, born from unexpected pain and quiet desperation, had taken root, and now it demanded courage. Sitting by the window with a cup of tea, Lena replayed the moments that had led them here. The quiet visit, the unexpected request, the unspoken pain, and the confession that changed everything. Each step had been filled with fear and longing, but also with a deep, undeniable connection. Jamie was no longer just her nephew. He was someone who had become part of her very soul. But what would come next? The question lingered, unanswered. Could they face the world together? Could they find a way to navigate the difficult path ahead without losing themselves? Or each other? Lena didn't know. She only knew that she couldn't turn back now. The future was uncertain, and the road was uncharted, but their hearts had already chosen their course. Jamie emerged from his room, eyes still heavy with sleep, but filled with something new. Determination mixed with vulnerability. Their eyes met, and without words, they both understood. Whatever challenges awaited, they would face them side by side. The truth was, love was never easy. It asked for sacrifices, courage, and the strength to be vulnerable when the world might not be kind. Lena and Jamie's story was unconventional, complicated, and filled with questions that had no simple answers. But it was theirs, raw, honest, and real. As they sat together, hands intertwined, Lena felt the quiet power of that truth. The unexpected request that brought Jamie here had done more than give him shelter. It had opened a door to a new kind of love, one that defied expectations and dared to hope. The journey ahead wouldn't be smooth. There would be whispers and raised eyebrows, doubt and fear. But sometimes, love isn't about certainty. It's about taking a chance, about holding on tightly even when the world tells you to let go. And so, with hearts both fragile and fierce, Lena and Jamie stepped forward into the unknown. Their story was just beginning. A story of unexpected love, shared pain, and the hope that, against all odds, two broken hearts could find healing in each other. For in the quiet moments, in the gentle touch of a hand, and in the courage to be true, they had discovered something rare and beautiful. A love that echoed through their hearts, unforgettable and unstoppable.